Hello my dear students and welcome to today's class. So as you can see on your screens, the topic for the day is air around us. So let's start the chapter. Children, air is everywhere around us. You can not see air. It does not have any taste, any color, okay, but definitely you can feel it. We can live without water and without food for 2-3 days, but to live without air is just next to impossible. We cannot live without air even for few minutes. So air is very important for us. So let's start the chapter now. Okay. To start the chapter now, air is present all around us. All living organisms need air to live. We cannot see or smell air, but we can feel it. Just now I told you, you cannot taste, you cannot smell, you cannot, there is no color, but definitely you can feel air. Okay? Air is also present inside living organism. A living organism can survive without food and water for a few days, but cannot survive without air for a few minutes also. Air is present inside the soil. It is present in oceans, rivers, ponds, lakes and all water bodies. Okay, so moving air is called wind. Now what is wind? When the air moves fast, okay, whenever the air starts moving fast, it is called wind. Okay, wind is felt when branches of trees and plants swing. How do we feel whether the wind is blowing? We can see the things, they start moving, okay, they start swinging, the plants and animals, they start swinging in the air. Okay, when we hang wet clothes for drying, they can be seen swinging. This is because of moving air or wind. Fine. So coming to the next one now. Moving to the next page. See, you can see the different things. Okay, like here you can see some clothes are there. Okay, they are kept outside in the sun. Okay, but when the air moves, they start swinging. The windmill, they are flying kites with the help of this air only. And even you can see the boat, it sails in the water with the help of air. Fine. Now what are the properties of air? To start, it is colorless, tasteless and odorless. Colorless means it has no color. Tasteless means you cannot taste, it has no taste, and odorless means it has no smell, you cannot smell. Okay, it can be compressed. Yes, it can be compressed. If you blow a balloon with air, you can compress it. Okay, so that means air is colorless, tasteless, odorless, but it can be compressed. Okay, now let's start. The next topic is atmosphere. What is atmosphere? Okay, there are few more properties left. I am so sorry. The next is it occupies space, it has mass, it can be compressed and it dissolves in water. Okay, what is mass? Means it has weight. If you weigh some balloon which is not having air, which is not blown, it would be light. But if you are going to blow air into it, what will happen? It will start, you will feel the weight of the balloon. Okay. Now moving to the next topic, that is atmosphere. Atmosphere is a layer of air that surrounds the earth. It extends to several kilometers above the surface of the earth. The atmosphere protects the earth from the harsh condition of outer space. All living things live beneath this atmosphere. What is atmosphere? Atmosphere is a layer of the air that is surrounded, that surrounds the earth. Okay, and how much it is extended? It is extended several kilometers up. Okay, it is essential for survival of life on the earth. As we move up in the atmosphere, the layer becomes thin. The more we are moving up, when we start moving up, the atmosphere layer, it starts thinning. Okay, we can feel this difference when we go from plains to higher mountains. Sometimes we feel difficult in breathing. If we are living on plains and we move to mountains, what happens? We start having, sometimes we have that problem of breathing. Okay, it is because of thinning of air. Since air is thin, therefore it has lesser amount of oxygen. This is the reason why we feel uneasiness at the mountains or hilly regions. Why? Because the atmosphere content would be less if the the oxygen content would be less, becomes very difficult for us to breathe. Okay. Now what is air made up of? So we are going to start composition of air. Fine. So let's start over here. As you can see, air is a mixture of many gases. It has nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapor and some other gases such as argon and helium. It also has some dust particles. The major is 78% is nitrogen, as you can see over here. Oxygen amounts to 21% and carbon dioxide, water vapor, dust particles and other gases, they contribute to 1%. Fine. Now moving to the next one again. Okay. There is an activity to show that 1/5 of the volume of air is oxygen. You just read it. There is nothing much to explain, so kindly go through the activity on your own. Now we will talk about nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen is maximum, so we are going to talk about nitrogen. Nitrogen is 78%. Okay, let us recall that nitrogen contributes to 78%. Okay, so if we talk about nitrogen, nitrogen is the major gas present in the air. It is colorless, odorless and tasteless. It does not dissolve in water completely, but it is partially soluble in water. It does not dissolve in water completely, but only a little bit part is mixed. Okay, it does not burn itself and does not support combustion. It is not a very reactive gas. Nitrogen is not required for breathing by living organism, but it does not mean that it is not important. If it is not required by us to breathe, but it does not make the importance of it less, because it is very much required by the all living organisms for growth. Nitrogen is required by all living organisms for their growth. It is used by plants for manufacturing protein, which are essential for their proper growth. Okay. Now we will talk about oxygen. This is very important now. Oxygen is also a colorless, odorless and tasteless gas, as is nitrogen. Okay. It is partially soluble in water, as nitrogen was soluble. Oxygen does not burn itself, but supports the process of combustion. It does not start burning itself, but it supports the process of combustion. Okay. All living organisms require oxygen for respiration or breathing. Oxygen is essential for sustenance of life. No living organism can survive without oxygen for more than few minutes. Okay. So now moving to the next one. What oxygen is very necessary for the life. Okay. So let's start. Every living organism needs air to stay in. Therefore, air is essential for sustenance of life. When an organism breathes in air, it actually takes in oxygen present in the air. In respiration, an organism takes in air and breathes out carbon dioxide. What are we doing? We are taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Okay. This oxygen is used by the body for the digestion of food. When food is digested inside the body, it is broken down into carbon dioxide, water and energy. Water and energy are utilized by the body. Okay. When what we are doing? We are taking in oxygen, and what happens? The food start digesting. Okay. With that, the food is digested, and what is given out? Water. Then water, energy and carbon dioxide are given out. Water and energy, they are used by the body, and carbon dioxide is given out by the body. Carbon dioxide is returned to the surrounding air. Animals and plants living in water use the oxygen dissolved in water for respiration. Okay. Now we will move to oxygen as a supporter of combustion. Okay. It does not burn on its own, but it helps in the process of combustion. Combustion is the process of burning of a substance. First of all, what is combustion? When any substance starts burning, that is known as combustion. The process requires air. Without air, no substance can burn. Actually, the oxygen present in the air supports combustion. Whenever we burn a candle or kerosene lamp or wood, it always needs air. If there is no air, nothing will burn. Okay. So there is an activity over here to demonstrate that oxygen is required for combustion. Okay. Now moving to the next one. Next page. Okay. Now moving to the next page, carbon dioxide. What is carbon dioxide? It is given out by the body when we breathe out. Okay, a colorless and odorless gas. Carbon dioxide has a slightly sour taste. This gas does not support combustion and is moderately soluble in water. Carbon dioxide inhibits combustion. Air contains very little carbon dioxide, but still it is very important component of air. Green plants need carbon dioxide to prepare their food. We are giving out carbon dioxide and taking in oxygen. Oxygen is given out by the plants, and what are we giving out? We are giving out carbon dioxide that is utilized by the plants to make their food. Now what is water vapor? Water vapors are water in the form of gas. Air contains water vapor. This is known as humidity. Water vapors are added to the air by the process of evaporation and transpiration. Okay, how is the water vapor added? By the process of evaporation. The water in the lakes and all that starts evaporating due to the heat of the sun, and second is transpiration. What is transpiration? When the plants give out excess water, okay, give out excess water through the stomata of the leaves, that is known as transpiration. Okay. Now we will move to the next one, that is dust particles. Air also contains dust particles. These particles can be seen in a stream of sunlight coming from a window into a dark room. We can clearly spot dust particles moving in the air. Dust particles are added in air from various sources such as wind, traffic, construction activities and agriculture activity. So now there is one more activity to observe the particles in the air. Please go through it. Okay. Now moving to the next page. Smoke. Now what is smoke? Sometimes the air contains smoke. Smoke basically contains fine particles of carbon and some gases. Whenever something burns, smoke is produced. Whenever you are burning anything, what happens? It gives out smoke. Okay. Now what is availability of oxygen to all plants and animals living in soil? Okay, this is the next topic. Many animals live in the soil. All the plants have their roots deep in the soil. These organisms also need oxygen for respiration. We know air is also present in the soil. It is present in gaps between the soil. Okay. They can be demonstrated by taking a handful of dry soil into some beaker. When we fill this beaker with water, we can observe some bubbles coming out of it. What do? You take some mud, okay, you take some soil and put in a beaker and add some water. What will you observe? Some bubbles will come out. Okay. These are air bubbles. The air present in the gaps between soil particles is replaced by the water particles, and thus it comes in the form of air bubbles. Okay. Now moving to the next one. Availability of oxygen to animals and plants living in water. How is the oxygen made available to the plants and animals who live in water? Okay. Air is present in soil and water. This can be demonstrated by heating a beaker full of water. When we heat the beaker, bubbles can be seen inside the water. These bubbles are due to the presence of air inside the water, which on heating starts rising from the water. All water bodies have air dissolved in the water. Animals and plants living in water, that is aquatic organisms, use the dissolved air for respiration. Okay. Now moving to the next page. Moving to the next one, which is the last topic also. How is the air used now? Different uses of air. It is used by human beings and other organisms for respiration. It is used for burning of fuels such as wood, coal, charcoal, anything. Without air, nothing can be burned. Air is used in compressed form to fill tubes and tires of vehicles. Air acts as a medium of pollination. Wind is used by means of windmills, which can draw water by running pumps to generate electricity. Then sailing boats, parachutes and aeroplanes move with the help of air. Birds and insects also fly with the help of air, and air plays a very important role in water cycle. So children, with this I finish the chapter. I hope you all have understood. Thank you.